All right, good afternoon, garden friends. I'm actually going to be doing some cutting back, deadheading my roses, um, any weeding that I need to do in these beds that are along the side of the house and also out in the front yard. Haven't really been able to stay on top of it, but due to all the rain and what have you. So I'm gonna really get in here and get this knocked out. Now it doesn't look too bad over on this side. It's mainly the beds that are up in the front. So Kevin's up in the front getting the grass cut. So I'm gonna be working over here. Okay, so I actually want to show you guys something. Um, this here is new. It's called Joseph Coates. Now, one of my garden friends said that it definitely spreads, and it does. But this is the thing. What I am trying to do is limit the weeds from growing up in here. This is more of that Bermuda grass that seems to be able to truck through anything. But I think, look how long that root is. I think if this ends up filling in really nicely, because I am going to cut it back, because Kevin tells me he does not like it laying over the wall. So I also have salvia in here that's doing well, but I just want to watch it to where the Joseph Coates don't end up smothering it. But like I said, the thought process is I wish it would grow back towards that way and fill in nicely to help reduce the weeds, but then also act as a protectant for my roses and my bobos. But like I said, I'm going to leave those guys there with the goal of them really filling in this area. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now, when it comes to my roses, I don't necessarily have to deadhead them, but I just like the way and how healthy they end up looking when I do clip off the dead stuff. And then it doesn't allow it to get too congested, because I do see inside that there is some yellowing. And that just tells me I need to thin it out a little bit more, because I got like tons of buds on here. Stay here. And then too, it allows me, to shape them while also thinning them out. And then that keeps them constantly blooming, because I will have roses this full like in November, because I do this. I don't like the rose hips on them. And I know people say, you can use those when you're doing like flower arrangements, but I'd rather just cut them off and have new flush of flowers coming through here. All right, so let me go ahead and get this clean. And two, what I'll end up doing is, let me show you down here, is opening up that area so that it gets more sun. But like I said, I'm gonna trim those guys back. What is that? All right. All right, so I'm gonna get in here, get these lamb's ear cleaned up. You see what I mean? All of this stuff so that it has a nice, fresh look to it. It's just so gross. And then these guys will, once I get them cleaned out, they'll bounce back and get even fuller. Okay, so I got this bed all cleaned out. All the dead flowers off the roses. Opened it up, you know, so it gets more air circulation. But yeah, I just love it when it looks so nice and neat over here. Look how nice the Helen Von Steins look when you get all that gooky flowers or leaves out of there. I had a big spot there that needed to be taken out, but there are runners in there, so that'll fill in really, really nicely. So the next thing that I am getting ready to do is plant this. This is a twisted branch or twisted tree hibiscus, which I'm actually going to be planting over there because my Artemidas that I had here is a goner, and nothing is going to be growing on that because we cut that back, well, probably a good 3 weeks ago, and nothing new has come on there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this dug up and get that hibiscus planted here. All right, so the hibiscus is going to get about 8 foot tall, and I think I'm going to really like having that here. But like I said, I first got to get my dead Artemidas dug up. Yeah, there is no green on it. It's definitely dead. And this gets morning sun pretty much from 11 o'clock until the sun sets. So this will be really good for this hibiscus. Let me get my drill. I want to loosen this soil up to make sure that I get this planted deep enough. My Joseph coats really like it here, and I think it'll end up looking good with that contrast of the leaves from the hibiscus. And I'm just gonna loosen up the roots a little bit. Right. So the hole is probably about 18 inches. And then I want to make sure that it's lined up with the soil. right. Nice and easy, and I think that is going to look gorgeous there. All right, so I'm gonna head up to the center bed, get those guys weeded and trimmed back. Okay, so this is the bed that I'm going to be working on. I so love my bubblegum petunias. I am not going to be working with any other petunias from Proven Winners. I just love the way these guys look, nice and flush. I've cut them back and they just get even more fuller. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'll turn the camera around so you guys can see what I'm gonna be doing, and then I'll get back on when I am done. Even though we did the sheet mulching, you know, I got a lot of grass that is growing in there, but look how beautiful the petunias look, especially with my Joseph coats and everything. One thing that I am going to do is over in this area, trim these guys back a little bit because they're sort of blending in with my, what are those, zinnias. And then also this Joseph coat, get it from around, you know, my roses. I got to get those guys trimmed back. And then as always, get all that yellow off of my daylilies. So these guys look nice and clean, but I'm gonna be getting all that out of there. So once I get the bed cleaned, I will get back on and show you how nice it looks. But look at this, guys. This is the other thing, because I got some new flushes coming in on my pensiment, but like I said, I want to get these petunias pushed back. But look at my sage. Isn't that gorgeous? And I so love that color combination with the yellows and the pinks and the purples. But yeah, I'm gonna hard cut back. This is my Atlas. I'm gonna hard cut this guy back just to get it cleaned up, and then I'm gonna also feed it. But yeah, look at that. That Bermuda grass is just a monster. You know, you would think with this Georgia clay, it wouldn't be able to get through it. But then also look at my coral bark. This was a little tree when I put it in there. I'll show you how much it has grown in over a year. So like I said, let me go ahead. I'm gonna get this bed cleaned out and everything trimmed back, and then I will get back on with you. All right, guys, look at the bed. It looks so much nicer, and look at all that I had to cut off of my petunias and the weeds and what have you. The bed looks really good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, get my roses fed with my 3-in-1, and then get all of my annuals fed with the Proven Winners water soluble food, and then this bed will be done. All right, so I was able to get this bed cleaned out and fed, which ends up looking so nice, and a haircut for my Proven Winners bubblegum petunias. Got this bed all done. Everything looks nice and healthy. And I love it. And then my new addition. So I'm excited to see how that ends up doing. All right, garden friends, I am so glad that I was able to get the 2 beds done along with my braided hibiscus. I am so excited to see how that ends up looking over in that area. Well, thank you again for visiting Inspiring Garden Corner. And if you enjoy my content, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. I so appreciate it. And I look forward to you checking out my next video.